Okay, this is Jimmy Jive, and you're listening to Motor City Rock Talk. Today we've got a young, upcoming artist, fairly new band from what I understand. They have played around on some gigs. The band's name is the Remnants, and today my guest is a lead guitarist, lead vocalist, and from what I understand, a pretty darn good keyboard player also. Anyway, my guest today is Adam Quiroz. How you doing there, bud?
I'm doing good. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. All right, let's start out a little bit, like I said, a little bit with your background. Where are you from originally, or where you grew up?
From Flat Rock, Michigan. Little small kind of place. There's not much music. Like, there's not really a big. I mostly kind of play around the Hamtramck and Detroit area, but around Flat Rock.
Sherry had told me something about New Boston. Is that like where the band is?
That's where I am, but it's right on the. It's basically in Flat Rock.
Oh.
New Boston Prairie. Might as well just say Flat Rock.
Okay, that's cool. Well, you're fairly young from what I understand, probably in your 20s, and you've been playing for a little while now. How did you get into music, and who are some of your influences to get you into music as far as playing guitar and keyboard?
Yeah, well, I'm 19 actually. I only had
okay.
Yeah, I've not had many influences that are. I'm trying to think, man. I kind of just did a lot of stuff myself. I obviously have the obvious like classic rock stuff that everyone kind of listens to, hears on the radio and gets inspired. But for the most part, I've always kind of just been on the guitar, sort of making my own stuff up. I've always been influenced though by recently, I guess growing up, kind of rock and roll, classic rock, AC/DC kind of hard rock stuff. But more recently, sort of more experimental stuff.
Your music, from what I've heard on Bandcamp, is very experimental. And being 19, I wasn't sure if you were into the new music, the old music, or what the kids listen to today. I know your dad plays in the Santana Project tribute group, so I thought maybe that may have influenced you. Did you take guitar lessons or piano lessons? Your dad teach you? How did you come up in the guitar and piano?
No, like formal lessons of any kind. I guess I had one. I think I had one piano lesson when I was a really young boy. He was trying to make me play stuff that I didn't really want to play. I could just kind of already make stuff up that was cooler than the stuff in the book. Not to sound, sound like I'm better than that, but.
No, I understand. Were they trying to teach you classical stuff? Is that what you mean? And you wanted to get to more original?
Well, I was already sort of building chords and stuff, and they were just teaching me like hot cross buns, little single key stuff. So I just didn't. I was already. I don't know. I didn't really fit in with the formal music stuff, so I just kind of did it on my own. My dad did teach me some stuff on the guitar though.
So how long have you actually been playing? You say you're 19. When did you actually start playing piano and guitar?
Man, it's hard to say. I started playing piano as soon as I could really walk around and sort of like, play with toys. My parents bought me some little toy Casio keyboards and whatnot from garage sales, and I would play on. So basically my whole life I've just grown up playing keyboards, and guitar came a little later, but I was very young.
Okay. What kind of equipment do you use now as far as, I know you play, like I say, both guitar and keys. What kind of guitars do you use, and what kind of keyboards do you use?
That's a good question. I like I'm a big fan of Korg keyboards.
Yeah.
Korg Kronos 2, but I'm currently using. Oh, it's great, man. There's basically nothing you can't do with it. It's the one and only workstation you'd really ever need for just studio use, and then live. I don't feel like lugging that around. It's like 80 pounds or something. So I did it for a few gigs, and it was just too much for me and the little road crew we putting together. So I'm using a Nord Electro 2 from, I believe, like 1999. It's old. Most people would say get like a Nord Electro 6 or something. I don't know. I think that every Nord is great. There's no dated sounds with the Nords. So
absolutely.
Korg and Nords.
Yeah, that's top-notch equipment you got there. What about your guitar rig?
Yeah, my guitar rig. My main guitar is a Les Paul. I should know more about it than I do, man. I don't know the exact Les Paul stamp, whatever that actually is. I believe it's a custom, but it's very, very new to me, and I still have to break her in a little bit.
But is it a newer Gibson Les Paul or an older one?
Yeah, it's a new. It's a gold. It's basically like a Slash. So it's a gold top, and it's definitely been, a new one. It's been made within the last few years. It's not a vintage. So my backup guitar is a Fender Strat. It's not actually mine, but my dad very graciously lets me play it.
Well, it's nice to have that in the family.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the band. How long has this band been together? How long have you guys been playing together?
We've been playing together since 2020 as Remnants. Really, me and the bass player Jude, we've been playing together since we were kids in middle school. We've always been playing, throughout the past 4 years of Remnants. There's been a lot of different members up. There's been a lot of different, probably been around 10 different members of this band or something, which is kind of weird for a young thing. But yeah, we've been doing it for 4 years. It feels like a lot longer, honestly. It feels like we've been doing it for a while.
Been some of the places you played.
Oddfellow Lounge, Big Sad is a nice one. We've played at Token Lounge many times.
You have played the Token, okay.
Oh yes, yeah, we played the Token. Actually, I think only one time as Remnants, but I played there with other groups. I think here, trying to think of the name. There's a very nice New Dodge Lounge. New Dodge Lounge is a good one. We played. Yeah, a lot of great stuff in Hamtramck.
Small, some of those places.
Yeah, Smalls. Yeah, totally small.
Back in my day, we played a lot of gigs in Hamtramck too. It's a fun area to play. As far as the band, I know you've got some recordings on Bandcamp that I've heard, and they're really interesting. They're not typical of what I would expect someone of your age to be into. Are you the main writer on this, or do you write all the stuff, or how does that work?
I'd say I'm the main writer of the material. I don't write everything, and a lot of the stuff you're going to be hearing on our upcoming album is sort of stuff that I kind of spearheaded the vocals and the, I guess, main melodies and stuff, but it's kind of stuff that we've worked on jamming in the studio as a whole. But for the most part, the stuff you've heard so far, yeah, it's been mostly me on the writing.
It's very, this is kind of a strange word for me to use for someone, like I say, especially your age, but it's very eclectic sounding. It's not the typical type of music I would expect to hear in this day and age. It's very progressive, I would say, like almost an alternative progressive rock. That's why I was wondering earlier on some of your influences, if you were into like Pink Floyd or Yes or bands as far as writing.
Totally, man. Yes is an amazing band, honestly. Just in particular, Fragile, great album, big influence on me. Pink Floyd, I mean, pretty much everything from Hyper to maybe Final Cut is amazing to me. I'm a big fan of it all, man. Definitely have roots in the 60s and 70s sort of psychedelic stuff as a kid.
That's really cool. So I'm sure your dad had something to do with that, being an older one.
Yeah, no doubt.
On some of the pictures I also saw, you guys look like you have like one amazing rehearsal. I don't know if it's a studio room also. Is that your normal place, or is that an actual studio that you're recording in?
That is actually the studio that we recorded our first little album on. It's actually an old church that was remodeled into being a recording studio, and so the main hall that was used for the choir and the pew or whatever, everything, it's been converted into just a big empty, and it's unreal. The sounds that we got on this record, it's impossible to get these sort of sounds with fake reverbs, in my opinion. Like,
where's the studio located?
It's Willis Sound in Willis. Very nice place.
How did you come across that? Did somebody suggest that to you, or somebody in the band know somebody there? How did that come about?
I actually went there as a younger teenager. I was like 13. I didn't record there, though my dad did with his band. He took me there, and I got to see it, like, I think right when it first opened up. Had to have been 2010 or 2017. And ever since then, I've had it in my mind that I want to go back there close to my house. It's a nice place. It's just it's a better vibe than I don't know what you'd call it, just a conventional record studio situation.
Now, this new album, is it completed, or is it in the mixing process? Where are you at with that?
We're about 99% done with this, actually, when it comes to completing the music on it. Completing the mixing of the music, where I think I actually have to do, to be honest, maybe a couple more vocal redos, and then this thing is completely done when it comes to recording. We're pretty much done with mixing too on a lot of these, at least roughly. So I would definitely expect this to be out soon. We've been working on this ever since January of last year. So
wow,
we've definitely been. We didn't want to rush it at all. We want to make sure we give this the full album cycle that it deserves, like the whole year.
So is it going to be a full album or another like EP style thing?
No, this is going to be a full album and possibly a double album at that.
Wow.
I don't want to affirm that, but it's definitely going to be on the longer side. It's going to be something you want to sit down and listen to.
Now, is this something that you're planning on putting out on a CD, or is it just going to be streaming type?
Oh no, we're definitely going to put this out on CD. I really believe in physical media. I believe in the having something, being able to hold it, not having a corporation be able to just take it away at any time. So it'll definitely be out on CD. There's no doubt about that. Possibly even vinyl.
Now that would be cool. I love vinyl. Have you guys got a title or a working title for the album yet?
Yeah, the working title probably end up being the title unless we can think of something cooler. Is Strange Things Change Bring. And
that's pretty cool.
Pretty cool. I said it with some emphasis. It's a little cool to me. I don't know.
The other thing I was going to say about that room, because it does look really massive, and I'm sure being that kind of church setting and all that, and good acoustics. Have you done anything in the sense of this is basically going to be your first album. I mean, you have the EP obviously of those songs. Have you had anybody in there like videotaping you guys in the studio, just to document it a little bit? Have you done any of that, or has that even come across?
Yeah, that's a good, man. I've done a lot of that actually, just myself. There's a lot of stuff that I don't know. One day maybe soon you'll see a DVD from Remnants of some stuff, because there's a lot of just us on the, not necessarily, we haven't really toured across these anywhere significant yet, but there's a lot of stuff of us just kind of goofing around and making music, and really videos of us in the process. There's already probably a hard drive that could be filled up with that stuff already.
Well, that's a cool idea, because today with the streaming media and YouTube and all that, other than having videos of your show, which a lot of times you're at the mercy of the club as far as the sound, it's always good to have that to really get people a better look of the band and an overall sense of what the band is about. As for the future, like I said, you've got this Token Lounge gig coming up. What are some of the other shows you've got coming up that you can mention?
Well, I'm not going to lie. I can look right here. We have January 27th at Token.
Yeah.
Convenient at 11 p.m. We even have February 23rd at Bolero. That's a great place. And we're actually not 100% confirmed. I don't want to throw stuff out there that's not 100% confirmed. But you might just see us on March 13th at Ziggy's. You might see us there.
Now, where is Ziggy's? I'm not familiar with that.
I'm not really sure either. We've never played there. It seems to be in Ypsilanti though. I've definitely heard of it.
Okay, so it's in Ypsilanti. Okay. Well, that's a good area to be. Ypsilanti out to Ann Arbor, because the college scene and all that.
Go wrong with anywhere.
Have you attempted in any way, like with the EP that you put out, to get it to any of the college radio, like Henry Ford over there in Dearborn? Because, like I said, it's definitely different and unique, potentially cutting edge as far as that, because you have a definite style that is not typical of anyone that I've heard of your age, or even my age for that matter. It's very experimental, like you said, and very interesting. Have you looked into that at all?
Yeah, actually, that's exactly what we've been looking into. There's been a lot of talks about college radio, a lot of talks just about the sort of, I guess, college experimental. There's a bit of that sort of vibe around here that we totally want to tap into. And yeah, when it comes to college radio, man, that's some of the last hope. I mean, not to go on something else, but that's some of the last hope when it comes to experimental sort of, not even experimental, but new, different, refreshing music.
Right.
Because there's no real hope of this getting on, like, even if we were to get as big as we could, this isn't going to get on a station that's just playing top cut, cookie cutter stuff.
Right, that could be, but you got to start somewhere, and a lot of bands that came out of your age and all that started in college radio. A lot of them in the 80s and the 90s and whatnot did that, and that's how they got their foot into commercial radio. because the music scene is constantly changing. Believe me, I know it. I'm 62. I've seen a lot of things come and change over the years as far as styles. And like I said, I think you guys, you're on to something. Tell me the names of the other musicians that are in your band. Give us a shout out to who that.
Yeah, totally. Well, we start with Nathan Addermatt. He's I would say rhythm guitarist, but we kind of share that equally, so we're just kind of both guitarists. We have Jude Big on bass, Michael Ellerman on drums.
Now, do they also sing as far as like backups, or do you guys share any of the lead vocals, or do you do them all?
Well, on this record, it's been a lot of me kind of overdubbing on top of myself, just kind of as an artistic choice. But
Sure.
Nathan has the absolute vocal talent, and you will be hearing some of Nate's voice on the album too and live.
Because you can do all you want as far as that in the studio, but live, if you can replicate it, somebody will be able to do that. As far as some of the songs you do you in any way do any covers? Do you do any cover songs of other bands?
No, we don't do any covers, but that's actually, not off the table. Not even, I don't even think it was just last practice. We were talking about maybe doing Eleanor Rigby or something.
If you had to in any way compare yourself to any band that you've heard over the years or that might be out now, is there anybody that, if somebody said, hey man, what's your band about? What do you sound like? How would you describe your music other than, like I said, experimental?
Well, it'd probably be a lot of bands that people, not to sound pretentious, but it'd sound probably a lot of bands that people haven't heard of. Maybe like, I'd say a little bit of like Modest Mouse, a little bit of angst in there, a little bit of maybe even Nirvana, even though that's a big band. Maybe a little bit of angst mixed with some indie, some, I don't know, just kind of, maybe if there's a band that people would want to check out, Joan of Arc, it's a band I really like. Cool. People listen to that, maybe they could hear a little bit of what I inspired by.
Yeah, because you mentioned Nirvana, I can definitely hear that in the guitar sounds that you use, but the fact that you play keyboards and you have that as part of that also, that adds a whole new dimension. Now, when you play live and you play that stuff, how much of it, when you play live, are you actually having to play on keyboards and lending the guitar work to your other guy?
Well, you're asking me what my ratio between keyboard and guitar?
Basically, yeah, live, as far as the new songs.
Yeah, the thing, I kind of do it weirdly. There's even times where I'll have my keyboard and my guitar on at the same time, kind of playing them both. Right. Tapping with one hand, I kind of play with the other hand. But yeah, I try to divide it up 50-50. It's not really actually a conscious thing. There might be some nights where I don't play one thing as much. I play the other thing more. Yeah, that's pretty much how it is. Okay. I don't wanna dwell on one thing or the other.
Right. No, I get that. I just didn't know if some of the songs, especially the new ones, lent themselves more to keyboards on certain songs and more to guitar on other songs, to where you would play the whole song on keyboard. But you're saying you mix it up mostly? Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty much, like, if there's a song where there is keyboard, I'm playing it the whole time. Unless, like I said, there's some occasional times where I'll tap on the keyboard and the guitar. For the most part, yeah, these songs where I'm playing keys, they're very keyboardy. We tend to have a lot of that. And then when I'm on guitar, there's really no sort of keyboard at all.
Now, live, there again, are there some of these places, because you had mentioned playing the Token Lounge before, and you're obviously playing there again, and again, I'll say it, on the 27th with 3 other bands, the new, old, I can't remember who the other bands are. What do you think of the sound at the Token Lounge? Have you gotten a good mix? A lot of times being a young band coming up at some of these clubs and you're opening, with 3 other bands ahead of you, they don't always give you the best sound as far as monitors. Have you had any problem with that at this point?
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. It can be rough when you're just you don't get an actual sound check. Stage, I'm not expected to have hours and hours sitting there before a gig. Right. We're just starting out, so it's kind of 5-10 minute line check that, and then we're on stage. But there's problems sometimes. I'd say at the Token Lounge, I don't recall any problems there. For the most part, most of these places are definitely like at least playable. There's some venues, I'm not gonna name names and stuff, but there's some venues where you'll be playing and it's some guy on some like old PA from like 1985 and it's glitching out and he's trying to turn it back on and off again mid-set and stuff, and you just gotta power through
it. There's definitely been times like that, but we just, we smile, we say whatever, man. I mean,
that's all you can do. You just got to know your stuff and plow through, like you said. Have you guys had anybody actually record you live? I don't mean the official, through the board. Have you listened back to any of your stuff live and been pleased with it, or are there certain things that you feel you needed to work on as far as that?
Live, there's definitely stuff that I feel like we need to work on. We're never perfect. We've gotten a lot better with some stuff. Being a young adult and having all the kind of pressures of people, different schedules lining up here, practicing, stuff like that, it used to be really hard to line up, get tight.
Right.
I'm sure that's a common experience with most musicians. It's just hard to find 4 dudes that can all do it 100% of the way, but we've gotten to that point now, and we're definitely we're the best we've ever been when it comes to live stuff. We don't have I've never actually listened to a soundboard recording of us live. That'd be really cool to hear.
Yeah,
but, I'm sure.
Because I know they can do that at the token, even if you, you line a phone into it, whatever, you can get something as far as that. The reason I bring that up is playing different places, different halls or different bar scenes or whatever. It's good to know that kind of thing as for future shows where maybe you need to turn the bass up or this and that, because a lot of these sound guys they're not producers. They're just there to give you an overall mix, and then you're on your own. So the more you can get from that, the more it's going to help your sound. And live, of course, now is key. Studio recordings are great, and it's a big punch. The main thing is to really get out there and present the band. Now, as far as playing live, do you have, because I don't know how the scene is, kids your age, do you have a younger audience, or do you feel it's older, or a mix, or how does that?
There's a mix, man. There's definitely a mix, because there's a lot of sort of friends and acquaintances and friends of friends, and not even people that are just kind of people that are in our same sort of age group and maybe go to similar schools and stuff that definitely like our band. There's a young adult aspect to it.
Sure.
But there's also I regularly get off stage and there's all ages, man. There's 20-year-old dudes coming up to me saying, "Man, that was awesome." There's 70-year-old dudes coming up to me saying, "Man, that's awesome." It just kind of bridges generations, I think.
Well, that is cool. That's what you want to do. You want to definitely do that. And being 19, basically just out of high school, good thing to have some kind of group of friends or whatever that can not only come to the show, but give you more encouragement, more backing as far as that. Because that's it, man. It's tough, man. Because you mentioned earlier that the band has gone through a lot of member changes. And that's really rough when you're young, keeping people, because, people change. They decide maybe to go to school, they want to get into this, because the money is not always, it's never been great,
Not many people can have that much time for a passion project when, they have to work at school and stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's really cool that you've got this group now, at least, that you feel is committed enough to it to keep going forward for it. And, hopefully it continues. Well, other than those gigs that you had mentioned and all that, is there anything else you'd like to tell anybody about your band and about, what you're doing?
Well, there's going to be some cool stuff coming soon. As for me, I have some kind of big plans in mind. I've been working on some solo demos. Not that I'm going to do any solo stuff, really just work with band arrangements. But I've been kind of going off and writing some stuff on my own that I think people might be, I don't want to give too much away, but people might be seeing a 6 or 7 piece incarnation of this band on stage sometime shortly. Kind of more of a, definitely more improvisational, definitely more experimental. We'll probably have some synths, we might even have some horn, violin. It's going to be...
Well, in that case, let me advise you to check out a group called the Vietnam Prom, because, and I'm sure your dad would be familiar with it. I know Cheryl. My producer, director, Robin Miller, they played in that group, and that's all they did. All their shows were total improv.
That's awesome.
No show. They didn't come out there and play set songs. They just came out there, and play, which is really cool. So you should look for them on YouTube, not to influence you necessarily, but just to see wow, okay, there's potential for this.
I'm down. You said it was called the Vietnam Prom.
Vietnam Prom. several videos out. They may even be on Bandcamp also, but I know they've got videos out. They do all sorts of crazy stuff. I'm going to let you go. It's been great talking to you. I wish you the best. Definitely let me know when, the new album is finished and, so I can pick the CD up, come out to one of your shows or at least check it out on Bandcamp and get it through you some way or another.
Yeah, absolutely will, man. Nice meeting you, Jimmy.
It's nice meeting you, buddy. And good luck and take care, and you have a good night.
You too, then.
All right, bye-bye. Hey, this is Jimmy Jive, and you've been listening to Motor City Rock Talk. That was Adam Quiroz from the band Remnants, and you're going to be hearing a lot more from them. They got a very interesting, eclectic sound, especially for some performers that are as young as them. And it's real interesting that he's talking about potentially doing some improv type material and potential shows. Look forward to seeing how this band pans out in the future. Wishing the best of luck. Anyway, as I like to say, keep rocking.